I'm coming at you live on tape from Sydney, Ohio. Just warning you now, last few days have been bad days. Something's probably going to go wrong shooting this video. Microphone's going to go dead. Light's going to go out. Something's probably going to go wrong. So, just a warning. This week's movie is the 1994 Fantastic Four, also known as Roger Corman's Fantastic Four, also known as the Fantastic Four that was never released. It was never released because it was a low-budget Fantastic Four, and Avi Arad, however you pronounce his name, bought the rights to the movie after it was made, before it was finished completely, and was afraid a low-budget movie was going to damage the brand of the Fantastic Four. So he bought the rights to it and tried to destroy every copy, but copies survived, and now it's on YouTube, so now I'm reviewing it. So as I promised, it's a Marvel movie, it's Fantastic Four, but it was one that was never released. It was going to be Howard the Duck, but I decided Fantastic Four is better. This movie starts with the image, with the logo, Fantastic Four, and then a long-ass intro with bad music. It's not really bad music. It's just unimpressive music. And shots from planets in space. Because if you don't know, the Fantastic Four go into space, and that's where they get their powers. So it's shots from space over the opening credits. Credits should be at the beginning or at the end. Not both. And these are long credits at the beginning, and there are long credits at the end. And it's just boring at the beginning with this music and the credits. So I recommend just fast forwarding through it and getting to the start of the movie. Where they're in a physics lab, or a physics instructor is teaching them about light speed, and a new, I assume it's a comet, but I'm not sure what it is, called Colossus, that's breaking light speed and coming close to Earth, and actually slowing the rotation of the Earth as it comes in contact with Earth, and will be visible to the naked eye. And we see Reed Richards and a guy named Victor, who are going to conduct an experiment on it to try to harness its power. And they're arguing about the numbers they've got down for the experiment. And Ben Grimm is in this class too, but he doesn't really do anything at the beginning. And then we go to Mrs. Storm's boarding school, which I assume Reed is boarding at. But he goes in there to get some things, and we meet Sue, who is a kid. Well, I'm guessing she's about 12 or 13. And has a crush on Reed, and Johnny, who is younger than Sue, maybe about 10, who is still hot-tempered and gets mad at video games. But then again, everyone gets mad at video games. Even the most devout video game player gets mad at video games. Even Sonic the Hedgehog gets mad at video games. My belly's showing. I don't like that. I need to lose weight, apparently. So anyways, Johnny and Sue are going to watch it, and Reed says he might get a chance to watch it, but he's doing an experiment. Then we go to the experiment. Reed begs Victor to do a simulation, but Victor says there's no time, and it all goes awry. But Ben jumps in just in time to knock Victor out of the electrocution thing that he's getting, where he's getting all burned up, and they go to hospital. Ben gets patched up, but these two strange guys who were there earlier on campus watching Victor say Victor's dead. But then we see them in the elevator telling Victor he's not dead, and they've got to save him. Then we go 10 years later, and Reed, who was in his early 20s, I'm guessing, in the first part, maybe mid-20s, is now gray-haired on the side, and he's built a shuttle that he wants Ben to pilot. And Ben has the perfect crew, and they go get Sue and Johnny, which Reed's not so sure about until he falls in love with Sue at first sight as an adult. And Sue's mom calls them the Fantastic Four. And then they get a diamond, a big-ass diamond. But the jeweler, a guy who lives in the sewers with a bunch of freaks, sees it and decides to steal it, but not before falling in love with the woman that Ben accidentally knocks out, the blind woman that Ben accidentally knocks over and destroys her sculpture, which then she falls in love with Ben, who picks her up. Jeweler falls in love with her. The jeweler follows her home, leaving his cohort to find out where the diamond goes. Meanwhile, the two guys who helped Victor out, who said Victor was dead, are taking orders from a mysterious masked man to get the diamond. This is a comic book movie, so you gotta kind of follow along. The jeweler then overnight steals the diamond and replaces it with a fake. And Dr. Doom, who we realize is the mysterious masked man, says that's fine because Richards will die in space. Which, when they go into space, there's some stock footage used. The shuttle breaks up, which there's some cool little footage here used when they're getting hit with the rays and stuff of the Colossus, which they're trying to get the energy from again in space. And the shuttle breaks up and explodes, and they crash land on Earth. But all four members are fine. But they've all got magical powers. Except for Ben originally. Ben's got nothing. Reed can stretch his arm. Sue can turn invisible. Johnny can conduct fire. But Ben appears unaffected. So they set a flare up, and Reed says they fell off the radar. Everyone thinks they're dead. But then Dr. Doom's two cohorts go to Doom and say they're alive, and Doom orders them to find Richards, which they do, and bring them back and start studying them in what is kind of hilarious with the Doctor. Doctor informs Doom that they all have these powers now because Ben has since turned into a thing overnight when they're overnight in the wilderness. And the thing is a giant rock monster with super strength and rock skin. Rock orange skin. He's orange and he's rocky. So he's kind of like an orange Rocky, only he's not Italian. And the Doctor said, and Doom asked if people could harness all these powers, would they be unstoppable? While feeling up the Doctor kind of erotically. And the Doctor says yes. So Doom orders it to be done. Orders a machine built so they can do it. And then the Fantastic Four escapes. Only to be met by Doom, who orders them back to their cells, which they refuse. But Doom sends his men after them, which the Thing beats up, and then they escape the compound and head back to the Baxter Building, which as those of us know, is in New York, and is the home of the Fantastic Four, where Reed Richards dresses up as my grandfather. I'm not kidding you, in 1994, my grandfather owned that shirt. To explain that the Colossus changed their DNA and made their what they viewed as their weakest traits their now strongest mutated traits. Meanwhile, Doom plans to steal the jewel from the jeweler who has kidnapped Elisa, the blind girl, to be his queen. And the Thing, Ben Grimm, leaves the building in a huff because he thinks he's ugly, which he definitely is. The Thing wanders the streets with everybody running from him in terror, and then meets Jeweler's second lieutenant, who I don't think we ever found out a name for. But I think it's in the credits, but I'm not sure what his name is. Who takes him down to the sewer, and then the jeweler meets him and the jeweler says to give Ben everything he ever desired and to treat him nicely. But then Doom shows up and shoots everyone in the sewer to take the jewel. But the jeweler says he'll shoot Elisa if Doom doesn't move on, to which Doom replies, "Go ahead." But then Ben says, "Let her go," and the jeweler escapes. But then Doom threatens to shoot Elisa, which Elisa then says she loves Ben, and Ben turns back into a man. And then Ben runs away, and Doom takes Elisa and the jewel back to Latveria, which is Doom's home and which he rules. That's where the Fantastic Four are first being held captive at, was Latveria. Then Doom sends the Fantastic Four a message. He's going to blow up New York if they don't show up in 12 hours to Latveria, which is in Eastern Europe. Surprisingly not communist. So Fantastic Four, now with Ben back, and he's got his... my tooth's hurting me again. And he's got his rock skin, his orange rock skin again. I told you something was going to go wrong. My tooth's hurting me again. And he's got his orange rock skin again. They decide to go and stop Doom. And they fall into a trap of these little magical beams that freeze them. And they start getting their power sucked out of them. But Reed slips his rubber foot out from under it and kicks the diamond ray out, which breaks the beams. And we get a fight scene where Johnny is all but useless. Probably because it's a family movie and you really can't show people on fire in a family movie unless it's Revenge of the Sith. So they can't stop the gun. They can't stop the giant gun, the giant laser gun that fires at New York. So Johnny flames on himself and flies to New York and stops it in New York and stops the beam in New York in what is the worst special effects of the movie. But that is because these special effects were never finished. These were the only special effects in the movie that were never finished before it was sold to the guy who founded Marvel, and then the guy who founded Marvel decided to trash the whole movie. So if they was finished, it would actually look better. And Reed Richards confronts Dr. Doom and knocks him off the side of the castle. He tries to save him, but Dr. Doom falls, which you know he'll be back if there was ever a sequel. And then they all go home, and Reed Richards and Sue Storm get married. And I assume Ben Grimm hits that thing of Elisa, and Elisa gets to find out if he's completely stoned, and if it hurts if he is. We all have always wondered. Like we all have always wondered if Reed Richards can make himself, if he can completely extend himself, and what he takes away from when he does. Now, this is actually a pretty good movie. I mean, it's low budget, and you won't recognize any of the actors. But it's actually quite entertaining. I mean, it might be better than the actual big budget Fantastic Four movies. And it is the most accurate comic book movie I've ever seen. It actually feels like a comic book. So I give it 12 out of 10 stars. Check it out. It's on YouTube. It's free on YouTube. It's Fantastic Four. Just type in Fantastic Four 1994 or Roger Corman's Fantastic Four. Oh, yeah, you want the song, don't you? Well, that's what you all came here for, I'm assuming. Is the song that's dedicated to Roger Corman. You're lucky I thought about writing a Doctor Doom song. Okay. He was just a man with a dream to make movies on the silver screen. He packed up his bags and was off without tags to that Hollywood place of his dreams. He's Roger Corman, greatest producer in history. Roger Corman, the man whose life is a mystery. He's made 700 movies more than anyone else around. Still going strong, who knows how many more. From Highway Dragnet to the Jungle Demon, he would not stop, inventing genres non-stop. You wanted to see it, he'd show it to you. Still gotta work on that switch. He was what we all wanted to be. He's Roger Corman, the greatest producer in history. He's Roger Corman. His life is a mystery. Made 700 movies. He's still going strong. Who knows how many more? His school of film has had its stars, from jokers to bikers to even those from Mars. The hits just keep coming, much like Rogers himself. No telling when either will stop. You can't put Roger on a shelf. From all of us moviegoers, and maybe the 3 people who watch this channel, we would like to thank you, Roger Corman, for the thousands of hours of entertainment you brought us over the years. And although you're 98, we're wishing you 98 more years, or immortality, so you can keep making movies forever. You're Roger Corman, the greatest producer in history. Roger Corman, the man whose life is a mystery. Made 700 movies. Anyone else around? He's still going strong. Who knows how many more? And that is the Roger Corman dedication song. If you like that song and want to support it, watch this video again. I don't know. I don't get any money from this, so share this video and tell YouTube to actually pay me. Next week, Elizabeth Banks's Charlie's Angels.